Hey y'all, welcome to the Feeling Station. I am super excited, y'all. So let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues, y'all. So with that being said, this video is for educational purposes only. So let's get started. So y'all, in this video, we are going to see where, talk about trouble places. I always ask, where am I going to have trouble, right? And I normally find a gathering spot like here and mark the high and the low. And I know I'm going to have trouble in that area because price gathered in that area and we had trouble going to the high or going lower than that spot, right? So all of these lines that you see on my chart are previous high and lows of where the SPY has been, and I label those as trouble places, right? So if I go to my daily chart, you'll look at it and see that this SPY is definitely congested, right? So there's no way we can see it looking at it this place, right? And I'm going to go and clean some of this up at some point, right? But for teaching educational purposes, let's say that, let's go to the 5-minute chart, and I can move this up or down. When I move it down, it looks congested, but when I move it up, we can definitely see it, right? So we knew this morning, looking at the SPY at 5, or we knew today, looking at the SPY, that at 545.35, right, there was our support area. That blue line that I have already marked was an area of, it had came back to this place, and you see I had marked this area, and then the computer, my chart automatically generates the first 15 minutes of the high and low of the day, and I call that the ORB high, or opening range breakout high, or the ORB low, which is the OR opening range breakout low, which again is the first 15 minutes of the day. It gives me the high of the day and the low of the day, right? And if you don't have this automatically on your chart, all you have to do is wait until the first 15 minutes. You mark the high of the candle, the highest candle, which would have been here, and then you mark the lowest candle, which would have been here, and you wait until the 15 minutes, and you just mark that and leave it on the charts, right? So SPY hit this level here of 545.35, and we had that marked, right, before the ORB, which was good, right? We're just trying to find trouble places, and we're identifying them early. That's exactly how I see this, right? So SPY gave us what looks to be a double bottom here. So that was a signal right at the open, right here, that SPY could possibly go back to the upside. Well, we knew that we were going to have trouble here at 545.78 and again at 546.23. Those areas here are places that we know that SPY was having trouble, the high and the low, support and resistance. Well, this 546.55 was a previous resistance area that we had, I think, on yesterday. So I left this level on my chart, and I always give it a different color to let me know that that's what it is. So I know that this was a previous resistance level from yesterday, right? So it didn't, when SPY came past this 545.78, I knew it could possibly come to the 546.23 and have trouble. Well, when we broke past that place, I knew that it could come back and retest this 546.55. Well, guess what? We broke past that place and made a high here of 546.77. So I'm gonna, as you can see, that is exactly what the ORB high is here. So our next candle, the body of that candle is very much close to the previous candle. So it's kind of like in this area here, right? So that's a trouble place for us. We already know that price is back in the same area again. It didn't go high. It didn't go too much. We're back in this area based on the body of the candle. So the next candle, although we made a high here of 546.84, that's the high of the candle, right? We made a high of this. Look how the body of it is still back in this area. So now we're creating a gathering spot, right? The price is kind of like having trouble in this area. So I need to watch this area here. So now that we're coming down under that was resistance. It's now support, that 546.55. We're having trouble in this area. I'm going to delete this one here. No, I'm going to leave it for just a second. So we having trouble in this 546.55 area, and SPY is declining. So that's something we know that we're going to have trouble here. We'll come back to that just to point out that that is a trouble place for us, and look where the price is coming to. So back to the 546.84, we knew that, we broke past this area. We saw that we were having trouble, came down under this area, 546.55. Support area is still at this 546.23. Look, it came down and tested this 5 EMA only to, looks like we broke past that 5 EMA, and we're under the 5 EMA now at this point. The price came all the way back down to this low of this candle here is 545.14, which we came back up. Well, this long wick here is very interesting. That's something to be mindful of, right? So that 548.78, we're back at that area again. Even though we had this long wick, this long candle, long red candle, the wick brought us back. That means buyers were right here to take this price back to this area of 545.78. That is interesting, right? Because the very next candle kind of did the same. It gave us this 548.78. So now it seems like we have a double bottom, which is an area of support for us. And it does mean sometimes that it could very well go back to the upside, right? So that 545.78 is a trouble place for us. We're having trouble in this area. So now this is our 20 EMA and that's our VWAP here. This is our 5 EMA and this Fibonacci retracement area. We are having trouble in this area, as you can see here, and I'll try to make that fib area a little bit bigger. This dotted line here is where we're having trouble. Price is on this area right at the 5 EMA. So now we're creating another gathering spot, right? Another place of consolidation, as most people would say. So with that being said, where are my trouble places? I'm going to zoom back to that. This is where we are. My trouble place is above the 546.23. Well, guess what? We broke above that 546.23 and above the 546.55. So now we've broken through two levels of resistance, right? So we've broken through another level of 546.70. So there's another area of resistance. Now the 546.77 is our ORB high. So it has broken through that level only to come up here and get rejected at this 546.90 area. The very next candle is what's interesting, right? So we did come up and make a high of 546.96, but do you see where it is? It's right at a place that we had already marked as a trouble place. We knew that SPY can come up to this area and have trouble in this area. That's why you have the gray shaded area, right? I shade those out so I know that, I could very well have trouble in this area. So SPY came down from that 546.96, which wasn't surprising because it got rejected from a previous support area, only to come back down to look where we at. 546.23 area is where we are. Next candle is again at the 546.23. So now we're creating a gathering spot here, right? Only to have the next candle take us above the 5 EMA. So now we're back at another area of trouble, 546.55. That's our area of resistance. Well, we broke through that here. Well, this candle is interesting. That lets me know I need to watch this, because is that a hanging man? Are we going to go back to the downside? I need to watch this area here. Well, we came back up to this high of this candle. Here is 546.72. We didn't test the 77, but we got close to it here. But it's right at this blue line that we marked here, right? So this is the area that we're having trouble in this zone here, from the 546.70 down to the 546.55. That's an area of trouble for us, right? So SPY came up this very next candle and tested, it came up to the 546.81 only to get rejected, and we're back under that 546.55. We're slightly under that. So we have trouble, definitely have trouble now, right? Because we're not above it, we're below it. And we're below the 5 EMA. So this candle here, I would definitely watch, where are we going? Well, this 546.55, we're under that, and we're coming down to this Fibonacci retracement area, which we have broken through the 546.23 and the 20 EMA and the VWAP. We're in trouble. That's a trouble place for us, right? We definitely need to be careful, especially if we're in the upside. This is giving us a signal that it is no longer moving to the upside. Look at our MACD. It has crossed to the downside, so we definitely should not be to the upside at this point, right? So this area here, we're back at the 545.78, just as we were at the 546.23. We're back at the 545.78 area, and look where the price is right here. 1, 2, 3. We have almost 3 candles in this area that's letting us know this is our support area. Yes, we did come down, but look where the body of the candle is. On this candle, we did this ATR trailing stop, which is the dotted lines that you that you see here. That's our trouble place, right? It came down here, it came down here, and we've come down here. We've tested this area 3 times. At some point, it's either going to break through to the downside or to the upside, right? So this 545.78 is our area of trouble. We need to definitely watch this. So now we are under that area, right? Our MACD gave us a signal that we're down. So this would have been a place that buying off of rejection. It got rejected here, 3 lower lows, and our MACD gave us a signal. So we have several confirmations to the downside for the SPY at this point. So at this 545, let's see, 545.56. Look, we're creating another gathering spot. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles in the same area. So we're not going higher than this. We're not going lower than this. We have a trouble, right? So now we need to know, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? So we need to definitely watch it, especially if we're in the trade, right? But because we're under the 5 EMA, our 5 and 50 has crossed to the downside, right? That's our signal here that we have another confirmation that it's okay to be in the downside of this move, right? Rejection here, lower lows here, and our MACD has crossed. So we have several confirmations to be in the downside. And I always say wait on confirmation, or make sure you have confirmation, right? So our trouble place was here at this 545.56 area. Let's see, 545, yes, 545.56. Well, guess what? It seems as if we tried to come up and break through that, only to have trouble at that 545.78. That's our trouble place. And as you can see, we've tested this area 1, 2, 3, now 4 times. We've gotten rejected there. So now, because we've gotten rejected 4 times in this area, guess what? SPY, okay, at this point, we're going to the downside because it has broken through our level of support at the 545.56. We have trouble here. Now it's under the 5 EMA, still under the 5 EMA. And we have broken through this ORB low and a previous support area and another previous support area and another previous support area, only to come down here to the low. This candle is at 544.92, only to have support in this area here, which is not surprising because it's not far from the 544.87, right? So that is our area that we definitely need to watch. So SPY tried to come back to this area here. You know, we tried to come back to this area only to get rejected. We got rejected on the 5 EMA and the 545.03. So that area is a rejection. And look, it came back to this area again, only to get rejected. That is a trouble place for us. There's a rejection place here at this 545.23. We've gotten rejected here twice. So I definitely need to watch this area. Well, look where price has found support on this red dotted line, which is our Fibonacci retracement. I'll try to make that bigger. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Which is our Fibonacci retracement line here, that red dotted line. It's where, look where the body of the candle is. Even though, you know, the candle came down to this, look where the body is on this line. And it's at a previous support area of 544.87, 544.84. Those are places that we definitely need to watch, because we can either bounce to the upside from here or get rejected and continue to the downside. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candles that has come to this area here. So it's the SPY telling us that we are trying to go, you know, continue down. Well, look at the MACD. There's a little pivot here. I need to watch this area here. That's a place that I definitely need to watch. And it's flattening. So instead of going to the downside, we are now flat. It's flat. So I definitely need to watch this if I'm in the trade, right? Because it may give you a signal here that we're trying to break back to the upside, but we know that we have a lot of trouble places to the upside. So where are our trouble places, right? This 5 EMA is a trouble place. This dotted line here that we created at 545.23 is a trouble place. This area here of 545.35 is another trouble place. And we have the 20 EMA, the 50 EMA, and this gold dotted line here at 545.56 area. We know this area here is triple trouble, is what I like to say, right? Because we got 3 it's two moving averages and a dotted line that we created. So we got a lot of trouble in this area. So I'm going to set an alert to let me know if SPY can break above that place, that we could very well go back to the upside. But if we're looking at it now, we're still having trouble. Right now, the 5 EMA is our trouble place because it hasn't broken above that level yet. And our support area was really here at this 543.03. Right here, we're under the 5 EMA. This is our support. This is a key level here, right? This here is a key level as to, are we going to continue down or are we going to go back to the upside? Now we are under this line here, which was a trouble place for us, right? So right now that was our support, and it still is because the candle hasn't closed yet. So the next candle is definitely going to be interesting for us. Okay, what is SPY doing at this point? Are we going to continue down, or are we going to continue to the upside? Or are we going to go to the upside? Our MACD is still in a flat place, right? We definitely need to be paying attention because we have 3 candles here that have found support here in this area. We are slightly above the 5, or trying to get back above the 5 EMA. Either way, we're going to have trouble at this 545.23 and again at this 545.35. So I would like to go to the higher time frame to see what stopped, and the great example of that will be on this candle here in this area. I'm going to try to move that so we can see it. This gold line that I marked here, something stopped the SPY in this area, right? What stopped this? So I'm going to go to a higher time frame just to see that gold line and see if I can figure out what stopped it from declining. And that's not all. Something stopped it from moving down, and we're not seeing it as of now. So we need to know that that's an area of support for us, or that's a trouble place for us, because something stopped it from moving, right? So that's why it's important. So if you don't have a line, if your moving average is not there, or if you're not seeing the Y, just know something stopped it from going further at this point. That's why it's important that we mark that. If you're using the moving averages, or whatever it is that you're using as your support and your resistance, or if you're just using your lines or your eyes, whatever you're using, you always need to know, where are my trouble places? And you can identify those by looking at your gathering spot, or looking at other areas that has stopped, that the stock has stopped, or the candle has stopped. Let me say that. That was a tongue twister. Yeah. So you have to look at places where the candle actually stopped, right? So like here, it stopped. So that's an area of support right here in this zone here. It's not moving higher. So right now that 545.23 is still our level of resistance. Well, guess what? We're back above the 5. We're still trying to move past this place. That 545.23, the high of this candle is 545.26. But look right there, that wick that means it's some sellers in this area right here. That wick shows us there that there's sellers there. And we definitely need to watch this area, because again, and look at our MACD. Our MACD hasn't crossed, but it looks like it's getting a little bit closer to where we were than before, right? So back to the upside, again, our trouble place is 545.35, and this area here of the 50 EMA, the 20 EMA, and this gold line that stopped it before, right? So y'all, I hope this video is very, very helpful. I always try to figure out, pick out ways that learning places, let me say that, and where are our trouble places? And that's something to be mindful of, because you always have to know where you're going to have trouble. Do you need to get out? Do you need to, this is the place that you need to get out. You don't want to be on the opposite side of the move or the wrong side of the trade, especially if you're looking at your charts and you know that you're going to have trouble in this area. So back to the upside, if we break above this area of 545.51, we can come back and retest all of this, right? And then have another go back to this 545.78. So you're looking at the same numbers again as trouble places. 546.23, we know that's going to be a strong area of support. This line that we had marked here at 546.54, that's what we marked here, 546.55 area. We knew that was a previous resistance area from yesterday. And look where the ATR trail and stop here is creating right at that line. So it's so important that we mark those areas, y'all. So again, I hope these are very, very helpful, y'all. I'm super, super excited. I always say, y'all, we learn and we grow together. We learn and we grow together. So I hope that everyone is having a very productive day, a very profitable day. And I always like to leave you with this, y'all. Be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.